8-year-old boy from Bristol was cautioned by the police yesterday after being caught for shoplifting. While other crimes have been going down, shoplifting is one of the ones on the increase.
Yes, the top stores in the West don't want to talk about it, but police records show a national increase of 8%. Our Home Affairs correspondent Steve Brodie has been out with officers on patrol.
Shoplifting, as it's most often seen, caught on CCTV. The up-close reality is more shocking. PC Mike Woods has been called out to the Mead shopping centre. A store detective has detained 4 young boys, one of them just 8 years old, on suspicion of stealing drinks, and they're being held in a room downstairs.
First thing I've got to do is caution you, alright? So you don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something which you later rely on in court.
PC Woods explains to the boys what could happen to them. The first alternative isn't very attractive.
All 4 of you will be put in handcuffs, alright, and taken out of the store, walking through the store in handcuffs, okay, which is embarrassing to begin with. Alright, there'll be a van waiting for you outside, and you'll be put in the cage of the van and taken to a police station.
The 4 boys caught shoplifting were dealt with by restorative justice. In other words, they had to meet face to face the store detective who caught them and admit their guilt. The process is remarkably successful, with a very low rate of reoffending. The security officer tells the boys their actions could result in staff losing their jobs following a drop in profits.
How does that make you feel, guys, now that you've heard that?
Senior officers agree that restorative justice works well.
The thinking is just to make clear to the individual who's committing the theft what the consequences of what they're doing are, because it's sometimes wrongly referred to as a victimless crime, and of course the victim every time is either the store, is the customer who has to pay for this level of wastage that goes through, and the consequences that go through, and also the consequences of their actions on them.
Over the last 3 years in Bristol, there were 1,800 reported cases, with the worst hit being Primark. In Bath, there were 647, with Boots the biggest sufferers. In Gloucester, shoplifters struck over 900 times, with Debenhams topping the list. And in Swindon, there were 660 cases reported, with Tesco being the hardest hit. In Weston-super-Mare, shop owner Paul Batts has CCTV on his till and a radio link with street wardens. He says small businesses are most at risk.
To independent business owners like myself, this comes off my bottom line. A lot of the larger stores seem to see this as a token problem, and a lot of them have lost their security guards due to cutbacks. But for the smaller shops like myself, if something gets stolen here, that's effectively coming out of my pocket.
It's a crime which nationally costs our economy millions of pounds, but it also costs society dear. Steve Brodie, BBC Points West.